Welcome to the Antoy Show. Today we have Princess Monique Films, an award-winning television and film director, producer, writer, author, and founder and CEO of Princess Films Productions and Real Black Unicorns. Welcome to the show, Princess.
Thank you, Antoy.
So great to have you today.
I'm happy to be here. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much. I'm proud of you. You are doing so much stuff, and I'm just so grateful that you took the time to come and be on the show and share your journey with us.
Anytime.
So, Princess, tell us a little bit about your backstory. Like, where are you from? How this all started for you?
Well, I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I love Cleveland, and growing up there was really great with my family and friends. Since I was a little girl, though, I always knew I was going to be in entertainment. My mother told me that she said that I would always say that I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, but I know it has something to do with TV. And so, my mother used to do these like talent shows, just to kind of keep us out the hood, out of trouble. And we would do these talent shows, and I was real bossy. I would tell everybody, you can't be in a show unless your outfit is together, unless your hair and nails is right, So I was directing at an early age. What pulled me in was modeling, because I'm really tall. I'm 5'11", and my mother was also a model. So I kind of started catching the real bug by doing some modeling. And I thought the next thing, to do would be acting. And so I said, if I'm going to really do this, I'm going to go 100%. And it's going to either be LA or New York. And I chose LA because LA got better weather.
Definitely.
And so I came out to LA, pursuing acting. I mean, I thought that's what I was going to do. I was going to be on TV. Everybody's going to see me. But I got into an acting class that the acting instructor was also a director. It's a woman. So I'm not sure if you know who Chip Fields is.
The mother of
M. Fields.
Tootie's mama.
Yeah, that's exactly who she is. And she was teaching acting classes, and I started helping the students put their scenes together. And so she was like, okay, what just happened? Because people would come with this horrible scene, and then you come back and it's like a whole nother scene. And everybody kept saying, Princess is helping us with our scenes. She's like, okay. She's like, you should shadow me on a few shows and see, this directing thing could be for you. Because she was like, I think you got a talent here. And at that time, I was following her around on shows like The Parkers, Girlfriends, 101. Ooh, I'm dating myself. After about a year, she was like, okay, now it's time for you to do something. And I was like, I'm not ready. And she was like, yes, you are. So I did I took a short film. Well, actually it was a scene at first, written by our mutual friend, Sharon Brathwaite.
Oh, yeah.
And I put that scene in the showcase, and everybody kept saying that was the best scene in the showcase, and we should do it as a short film. And I was just like, film, okay. So then I did a short film, and it won a lot of awards. And I said, okay, I got something here. There's
a little something.
Yeah.
And you mentioned to me too that your grandmother played a huge role in your upbringing.
You ain't supposed to try to make me cry early in the interview. What are you doing? No, my grandmother, she's definitely was my best friend. We were really, really close. We were closer, I would say, than me and my mother. I think me and my mother have a really great relationship. But my grandmother, we had this spiritual connection. I could tell what she was thinking before she spoke, or when she said certain things, I knew exactly what she was trying to say. And other people would be like, what is she saying? I'm like, oh, she's talking about this. And we just were very connected, so she was a very big influence in my life.
It's great to have those people in your life growing up. It really sets the foundation of everything moving forward.
I agree. I would not be who I am today without my grandmother. That's for sure. I mean, I have a lot of people who have influenced me, but I must admit she's definitely, my biggest influence.
And I wanted to talk about your award-winning directing.
It's interesting that I started winning awards with my first short film called The Call. When I did the showcase piece of just the one scene, I had never directed anything. And when I went over to do a short film, I still hadn't directed anything, but there was something that I knew how to put things together for. I don't know how. I think I just tapped into like all the things that is me, my organizational thing, skills, my people skills. And for that film to be the first award that I ever received. And what was also really cool about it, it was at the San Francisco Black Film Festival. It was the Melvin Van Peebles Award.
Oh, wow.
And it was presented to me by Mario Van Peebles.
That's an honor.
I almost lost my mind. You thought I hit the lottery, because I mean, I wasn't sure if I was going to win. I just was happy to be nominated. I know people say that, but it's just like, people submit hundreds of thousands of films to these festivals, and to get a nomination from that pile and then to win, it really solidified that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's actually the thing that made me even take a deeper dive to take this more seriously. I went to film school after that because I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. I went to LACC, Los Angeles City College here, and got a cinema production degree after 2 years, because I'm like, I want to know everything.
So tell us a little bit about some of the things you had an opportunity to direct.
I've done a little bit of everything, from shorts to commercials to PSAs to music videos. But when I was doing all those different things, I even did tutorials for department stores. But when I was pursuing those or doing those things, I was always pursuing a feature film. And I finally got that opportunity to do a feature film for Lifetime called Seasons of Love. And it was like hitting a lotto, because I waited forever, ever to get that opportunity. But when you get the opportunity and then you have Gladys Knight and LaToya Luckett and Taraji P. Henson producing and being in it, it was like, okay, it's okay if I wait, if it's gonna be like this. So I was like, most people have Tyrone and them in their first, feature. But I actually had, I was directing, Grammy Award winners and Oscar nominated actors and actresses. So it was beautiful.
So what was it like directing for Blackish? Like, what did that mean to you?
Another validation. When it comes down to pursuing directing, it's such an unpaved road. You're never gonna know exactly, if you do this, this, and this, you can direct. It's definitely not that job. And I got the opportunity. I was in the ABC Disney directing program, which now is called the Walt Disney directing program. And I'm saying that because anybody who's interested, they should definitely apply when they open up the application. When I was in the program, it's a shadowing program, I got an opportunity to shadow on Grownish first. And I had such a ball and such a great time. And then I spotted another director on Blackish that I knew. And he's like, well, come over here after you're done with Grownish. And I go over to Grownish. And then one of the producers was like, okay, so are you going over to Mixed Dish after this? I said, oh, yes, I am.
All the issues.
It's such a great family and world that they've created there. And to be welcomed in, and not just like, okay, we're just gonna let you shadow, but no, we believe in you, and we're gonna, give you an episode of the show. So it's still a big deal.
That it's a huge deal. That's a huge show, a franchise now. And what was it like directing Greenleaf? And did you get to meet Lynn Whitfield?
Miss Lynn. Yes, I love her. She is amazing. She's fabulous, not just as an actress, but as a human being. She's exactly who you think she is. She is that elegant lady of style and class, and she knows her job, and she has a lot of humility, and she was wonderful. I tell you, sometimes when I am directing known actors, I try not to think of the things that I know them from because I don't want to get all starstruck. But I must admit, when I met her the first time, I was just, I was cool and everything. But then I went in the bathroom, like, I was very excited, very excited. But the whole cast there was amazing.
You were saying that, you're doing these different things and it's such an exciting moment when you get, these opportunities. But I was trying to imagine, what is it like as a director, having these actors? Like, do you feel comfortable saying, no, you need to do that again, girl? No, dude, you need to, try that again. Like, one more take.
TV is very different than film. Film, you're kind of like the end all to be all. If you're producing and directing, you kind of get the call, the shots, you know what you want. And so the tweaking of the actors are all in my hands. Television is very different. Television is such a collaboration. You have to collaborate with the writers, with the producers, as well as with the actors. And two, I always say, you got to know where you are. When you go to a show like Blackish, that has been, and Greenleaf too. Greenleaf was in its last season, and Blackish is in their 7th season. So there's things about these characters that they know way more than me. So I don't compete with that. But of course, you have tone meetings and you have different meetings that the producers want. I make those notes, and if they don't hit that, I'll give them just an adjustment, and say, okay, can you give me one like this now? But no, I'm not gonna be telling Tracee Ellis Ross, do it again. Like that. Like, no, I'm gonna say, okay, let's try another one like this. But for the most part, they know those characters so well, they don't get it wrong.
I'm glad you clarified that there is a difference with the film and the television directing, because sometimes I wonder, I'll see an episode and the directing looks so out of context. I'm like, I've been watching this show and this seems like it doesn't even belong in this series, like the way it's directed,
People don't come back to the show. You have to really study the show. Luckily for me, when it came down to Greenleaf and Blackish, I was fans of both shows. So normally when I go into a show, I watch all of the episodes, I see the tone, the feel, what they normally do, because you're not supposed to be coming in there doing a remix. You're supposed to be kind of like a guest at someone's home, and they've prepared the meal, and you're going to add a little salt and pepper to what's already prepared. You're not going in there talking about, we're going to take the cheese out the mac and cheese. You ain't doing that. If you have that understanding, usually you won't make those mistakes, but some people don't necessarily think like that, or they think like, well, I know how to, put more than salt and pepper on there. So and sometimes
put some hot sauce in there or something.
I know, sometimes it works though. Sometimes they take those chances and those shots, and then the producer's like, wow, we didn't see it like that. So I wouldn't say, not take a chance. If you feel passionate about it, if you think that it really works, I would say you have to do those things.
I had an opportunity to see some of your work, and it's amazing, especially when you watch them, the different episodes, and then to see the different directing and the depth that you bring to it. And I love Seasons of Love. Lifetime is good about that. They put it out every holiday. So let's talk a little bit about your producing.
Well, I tell people all the time, I produce so I can direct. I do everything so I can direct. Directing is my passion, but producing is something that kind of comes natural to me, just because if you think about life in general, there's always something you're producing. Whether it's like if you have a party or if you have an event to go to, you got to do all these different things to prepare for whatever it is that you're going to do. TV is amazing because all I have to do is be the director, which is something I've been working up to for a long time. Nothing against producing, but producing is a lot of paperwork, which it's a lot of organization and foreseeing everything that you possibly can think happen, and then there's the budgeting of the money and, the balancing of the schedules. And so it's something I can do.
A lot of times we have to wear the hats. We don't want to. We're good at it though, but we want to really focus on the passion, what we're truly, truly passionate about. Yeah.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about your writing and what inspires you.
Writing is one of those things that I've always been good at, but I never liked doing. I would write poems, and I wrote a lot of poetry when I was really young. I actually just went through some old journals And it was like, wow, you were writing food. I would write about anything. I write about heartache. I write about food that's good. I would write about anything. I would like, after this, I would sit down and be like, oh, what ad was this? And I did well in school in the writing side. So I was like, yeah, that's another thing I can do, but I don't necessarily like to. I like to, like you said, write things that I'm passionate about. I mean, I don't mind doing, like, if I have a biopic or something, I'm working on a few of those right now, and reading the book and then writing because I'm already passionate about the person. I'll do that.
You could do it, but hire me to direct. Well, let's talk about your production company, Princess Films Productions.
Oh, wow. It's something that I've been working on probably from the very beginning. And it happened because of, my very first short film. It was like, okay, what production company is going to, produce my short film? Nobody. So then you start learning the business side of it and what that means, so that you can, not have to put all the money out of your pocket, or all the insurances is not on you. It's got to be on a company. And so I've been working on it for quite some time, and we have some really great projects on our plate right now. Seasons of Love was, I didn't attach my production company to that because we went through Lifetime. It was the Lifetime thing. But I'm working on a project with Disney, and it'll be a Princess Films production. So, it's something that's growing, and I'm learning as I grow and as I go. I love that I did that part because it was kind of intimidating, it's like, okay, I have a lot of skills I've already learned. Now I have to learn how to be a CEO of a production company and pay taxes and pay bills and all that. But I'm really happy that I took the time to learn and have my own production company.
Yeah, and I think it's important, like whatever we're doing, especially nowadays, to educate ourselves and have our own entities, because there's a lot of benefits to it, even though there's probably a little bit more work in putting it together. And even just when you're working on those other projects, like aligning your production company with Disney, that kind of gives your company automatic clout as a production company when you're doing those projects.
When it comes down to Disney, they have so many princess projects. And I'm like, are they gonna think of this as a production company, or, oh, it must be a princess movie, like, with the little cute princesses that they have.
But maybe it'll be a positive. maybe they'll make a doll, and then they'll create like a whole series on create a princess doll.
That's the story behind why Princess Films is with a Z versus with an S. When I originally started it with an S, and it just kept getting mixed with Disney stuff. And I was like, I don't have my own Google, brand or presence, because I'm getting mixed with Disney. And so I changed it to a Z, and it kind of gave me my own little space. And that's the story behind why it's Princess Films with a Z.
So I wanted to talk about something that's super exciting project for you, and that is Real Black Unicorns.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. I've always been a person that believes in a give back or community part of my life. And I mean, and when it comes down to working with women, young women, and Real Black Unicorn actually just covers everyone. But I've been doing it since I was really like in my early 20s, when I was over the girls ministry at my church. And then when I moved to Atlanta for a time, I had a nonprofit organization for teen girls. And then when I came back to LA, I was like, I don't want to lose that component. And one of the things that I realized with the organization in Atlanta was that the girls were attracted to me because of the industry. And as I started finding out more statistics about African-American female directors, it's a very small percentage in conjunction with everybody else, but there's still a lot more of us than people think. And how Real Black Unicorns even came to be was I would just go to like general meetings or different meetings at different studios, and they're like, oh my God, it's so great to meet you. You're like a real Black unicorn, because like it's very rare that Black women are directing. I'm like, I know a whole bunch. Like, what are you talking about? And so as I started realizing why there was a disconnect between people who can hire us and us, is that, you know, those executives are in their offices all day, you know, they have their shows that they're covering, and then they go home and feed their families and go to sleep. They don't have time to see where we are unless you have some breakout film. Or so they would go to like film festivals, and they'll go to, you know, showcases and things like that to find people. But I started figuring out, like, what if I just came up with a nonprofit, and when they looking for somebody specific, come to my website. We have a directory of African American female directors. And I'm also a big advocate in mentorship. I believe everybody should be a mentor and a mentee. So I feel like, why are other girls who are coming behind me trying to figure out how to be a director? Like, why is she trying to figure it out? Why can't I just tell her what I did, at least give her something? And the ones that are above me, they tell me what they did, you know, and that way we're all helping each other. So that's pretty much the what the organization is about, is mentorship and helping each other.
Can you tell us where they would go to find out more information, or if they wanted to add value or make donations or whatever you need? Where would they go for that?
Yes, it's realblackunicorns.com. And I would love to have you as one of our Real Black Unicorns, because you already are. Like, you are a director, and, you know, you produce and you're the host. You got I thought my title was long. I was like, Antoy, do everything. Mom, all those good things. So, but I would love to have you be a part. There's a place on the site where you can actually, we say, join our tribe, where we call ourselves a tribe. And you can put in where you are in the process, if you want mentorship or just want to be a part of the collective. And we're going to start doing like some support group, like once a month, like a support group Zoom.
Well, I think that's awesome, because, you know, all of a sudden now there, you know, with a lot of the things going on socially, there's this push for diversity and inclusion. Things have changed, but there's still so much work to be done. So for you to create an organization like that, where it highlights, hey, Real Black Unicorns are out there.
We exist. That is our tagline. We do exist.
They just don't know where to look, I guess. But now they can go to your website. That's where you go when you want to find those unicorns.
I know what it's like to be a Black woman. I'm an expert in that lane. And it's one of those things where the journey is definitely different. It's different. And we should support each other. And it's my way of doing that.
Well, I think that's awesome. And anyway, I can be a part, and you guys make sure if you can contribute in any way, information, mentorship.
I just so happen to have this one here. This is our little merch.
Oh, how cute.
Shirts, we have bags. We have some really cool stuff on this site. I'm very happy with our merchandise.
So go and check out realblackunicorns.com. So I want to talk about something even more exciting. You have so many exciting things going on. Directed Blackish, Brownish, you know, all this stuff. The company, the movies, Lifetime. I want to talk about you now being an author. Yay!
Talking about the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life is write a book. And you would think, because I'm a writer, it would be easy, but it's part autobiography and part just more of things that I just discovered along the way. So the book is called Hood to Hollywood: How to Stop Waiting to Be Discovered and Discover Yourself. Because I came here, I want to be discovered. And a lot of people think I just need the right person to see me, and then I can, you know, do this thing, or I just need the right person to give me a chance or discover me. And that's just not how it works. And I learned that I had to discover myself first and discover what it is that I really truly want. And once I started to take those steps and do that work for myself, then my career started unfolding and opening up and started making a lot more sense. So I share that journey in the book, and it's been a very vulnerable thing, because I tell my ups, I tell my downs, I tell things that I look back on now like, wow, I did that. and I did that. I mean, and some of them are good and some of them are not so great. I shared what I discovered about myself during those processes. And I feel like just if I share my story, that I could help somebody else, not maybe bump their heads in places I bump my head. And, also be inspired to know that, people that look like us can do this.
And you mentioned, ups and downs. What would you say has been the most challenging thing throughout your life journey that you've had to overcome?
I guess the first thing that pops in my head every time anybody asks me about challenges is my grandmother passing away, because she was just someone who I felt so like I was never alone when my grandmother was alive. And she knew me like nobody else knew me, and we shared things. So when she passed away, it took a minute for me to get back up. I was, in the bed. I went through some depression. I went through a lot. And it's interesting that connection, even though someone passes on, the connection doesn't leave. And there was things that would come to me that I knew was via her, or at least she's implanted in me, that started to come up and make me kind of like, okay, get up out this bed and, do what you're supposed to be doing here on this earth. Eventually, one day you'll come where I am. So it's not like we're going to be apart forever. And so that was probably the toughest. And then the second toughest, I would say, is that I have a very rare condition, or dis-ease is what I call it. It's a dis-ease. Mm-hmm. And it's called syringomyelia, and it's a crazy name, but it's a spinal cord disease, and there's no cure for it. I used to be challenged spiritually, and I could recover because I'm a believer. I can go to God and I can pray and I can do those things to overcome certain things when it came down to the spirit. But this was a physical challenge, and it was like I can't just mentally say, okay, let's get up and do this and do that. Like the body's like, no. So dealing with it every day and still pursuing, the life that I'm, the work that I do, it's definitely the challenge that most people don't have. But I just look at it as every time I open up my eyes in the morning, I'm like, God ain't done with me yet. I think everybody has something going on in your world. It's just so happened to be my something. And it's a roller coaster because I've had 2 surgeries already. They want to do another surgery. And I'm like, no. So just, it is definitely a challenge that is always a part of my life.
Well, I know you work with other people that have the dis-ease, as you say. Do you want to kind of let us know a little bit more about what it is and kind of what the, symptoms and those kinds of kind of what people deal with that have this?
Yeah, it's interesting because there's 2 causes. One is you're either born with it, and then 2, there's a cause where you have some issue with your spinal cord fluid coming from your brain down into your spinal cord. And everybody's different. There's people who live with this who have no symptoms at all. And then there's the other extreme. There's people who've been paralyzed. They have, or they have to have a walker or a cane, or they have like these shaky limbs because the nerves are already damaged. So it's definitely, it's something I wouldn't wish on anybody. It really is a challenge. My personal situation, I always say, I'm happy I don't look like what I'm going through, because it is a, it's a painful thing. Like I'm in pain right now, but there's just different levels of the pain. And I don't know if this is a blessing or a curse, but my resting pain is actually higher than my active pain. So when I'm working, I'm doing stuff, I went hiking this morning, I actually have a lower amount of pain. But at night when I go lay down and have sleep or just watch a movie on TV, even sitting here, I can feel it raising a little bit because I'm sitting stationary. So but that's not for everybody. Some people don't have that at all.
You would explain to me kind of the pain that you go through on a daily basis, and kind of when you wake up, you never know kind of what your day's going to be like. And a lot of people would let that get them down, and you still push forward and you still push through. And I remember you were doing, you had to go have surgery overseas, and you keep going and pursuing your passion and helping others. And I just really admire that about you.
Thank you.
And you mentioned your faith in God. How's that supported you through your journey?
Well, that was there goes my grandmother again. She in our whole family, I think she planted that as the foundation of our family. She would go to church every week and maybe change churches or go, if somebody invited her over here, she would go and I'll just tag along right with her. And so I was always a believer, but I didn't understand at that point the relationship. And once I understood, and it was like I said, my early 20s, and then started to, it makes life a lot easier because you know that there's something and bigger than you working. And sometimes there's really blessings in the storm. I keep saying that about my condition. I'm like, there may be a huge blessing in this storm that I'm going through. And I'm waiting for it. Sometimes I'm like, all right, God, I did my part, your turn. But it is everything. I probably wouldn't have the attitude that I have if I wasn't a believer.
You have had such an amazing journey, ups and downs and challenges. What advice would you have for someone trying to, either get into the entertainment industry or become a director, a producer, or writer?
That's one of the reasons why I wrote my book, Hood to Hollywood, is because I would teach at acting classes and people, I would say, oh, go get this book and go get that book. And I was like, I'm making a lot of money for a lot of folks, telling them to get this book and get that book. And so what I did, I put all that stuff in my book. So at first they get my book because I share, a lot of things, even from my mentors, and so many people have taught me along the way. That's the first foundation, is you have to discover yourself. You have to know what it is that you want to do and not be, I call it like an octopus. I don't want to do this, I want to do that. You can be multi-talented and multifaceted. I'm definitely one of those people, but I learned how to bring all those things together under one umbrella and focus on one thing at a time. That's a big key, especially when you're multi-talented, because people are going to call on you every 5 minutes because they know you can do everything, you can do everything well. And so I would say start with reading my book. No, but I would definitely say start with yourself and figure out what it is that you really, really want. Sometimes we know it in our heart. Write that thing down, break it down. I always say, go back and ask your mother, your father, your aunts and uncles and cousins, what did you do naturally as a kid before you start thinking about it being a job? And when I talked about that story about, my mother used to do these talent shows at our apartment building, and I was directing folks around. I didn't know I was directing. I just thought I was bossy, But when I look back, I already knew, and I had to go on this journey to find it, but it was always there. So you can sometimes people say, well, I don't know what I want to do. Go back and talk to people that know you from when you were a little bitty baby, and they'll tell you what you're supposed to be doing because they see.
But they may not want you to do it because they go get a job where you can make some money. But it's good to
don't ask haters, and don't ask the parents that want you to be a doctor.
No Caribbean parents, don't ask them. What advice would you have for people going through COVID and as far as moving forward?
To remember, COVID is not over. That's first and foremost. People think, because these vaccines are out here, or that you got a vaccine and now you're immune to COVID. No, you can get COVID. You just have something that will be helping you fight it off. So I would say still follow the protocols, still wear your mask, still keep your distance, still, wash your hands, do all those safety things. And then I would say, utilize the time. That's one thing that I promised myself when I got locked in an apartment for a year almost. I said, I want to look back on this time and say, it was COVID, it was crazy, but I was productive. I'm so impressed with the resiliency of people in our industry and how we've gotten around it. I love watching TV and see like, what are they gonna do now that they don't have an audience? And how they're just figuring it out. They're figuring it out, but we all have to kind of figure it out because there's no book for this one.
So what's next for you?
Sometimes, Antoy, I wish I knew. And I say that because sometimes, because I have so many different things going on, everything that I do, though, I try to do to enhance my directing career. So I'm up for a lot of shows. So I'm hoping to get some more episodes of television, first and foremost. And of course, bring out my book and share my story. And Real Black Unicorns, we've been pretty much talking about all those things. I mean, Princess Films Productions, we have some productions that are being in development right now. It's a lot, and it's enough to keep my plate so full.
Well, is there anything thoughts you'd like to leave the viewers with?
Sometimes you're attracted to the entertainment umbrella. And you think, oh, I'm supposed to be an actress like me. I thought I was supposed to be a model. I thought I was supposed to be an actress. But really, my strong suit was directing. And even when I figured out that directing was something I could do well, I actually didn't want to do it. I was just like, that's behind the camera. That's going to be extra hard. My family ain't going to understand me, directing. Like, we want to see you on TV, But I think that that's the work that you have to do is make sure you're in the right lane because this entertainment umbrella is huge. There's so many great things. You could be a host. You could be a casting director. You can work on the crew. You can work in production. There's so many other things that you can do. You got to be drawn to something or know that you can be passionate from the beginning to the end. Directing is that for me. I do producing so I can direct. So then I'm like, okay, I have to do this so I can do that. But if I could just direct all the time, I would be so happy. I really would, because I really love doing it.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming and sharing some time with us and sharing your journey. You are amazing. And we look forward to all the awesome things that you're going to be doing, directing wise, producing, writing, your books, and definitely go and check out Princess Films Productions and Real Black Unicorns and see how you can participate and be a part and support all the projects Princess is working on.
Thank you so much, Antoy. And again, I'm very proud of you. And it just warms my heart to see a Black woman doing her thing with her own name on her show and doing something positive. I really appreciate you and your crew for making this happen today. Thank you so much. And I'm here for you anytime. Anytime you want to do an industry panel or whatever, just call me and we'll make it happen.
Oh, thank you so much, Princess. If you like what you see on any of these episodes, share it and add us on social media on all the platforms. That way you can keep up to date on all of our current posts. Did you guys see the jewelry I was wearing today? Well, it was provided by fashion stylist and my girl, Latoya Mack. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you'd like more inspiring content, go to youtube.com/The Antoy Show, mangoseed.tv, and antoygrant.com. See you guys soon.